What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Business is Pleasure podcast. I am your host with the most, Jonell Francis. I am the co-owner of the Clarendon Trading Company, which is our baby, our little infant that we're trying to grow. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting, and I'm here with the love of my life, Colette Liebert, who is also the co-owner of the Clarendon Trading Company, aka my boss. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Business is Pleasure is essentially where we talk about the vintage community, reselling community, and how our business is incorporated in all that. And of course, we try to give you guys bits of information how we can help your business grow. And the best way and the only way we start off the show, Colette, how was your week?
My week was good. Nothing too crazy. We had one event this past weekend.
Yes. It's becoming one of my favorite events because I'm actually getting really accustomed to like the drive and everything, and also just the community down there is amazing. It's called the Ottawa 613 Flea.
Yeah, it's actually a really good event. It's really well organized. The turnout's always really consistent.
Shout out Catherine.
This past one was a little bit busier, just because they had a Ottawa Red Blacks game, which is a really crappy name, by the way. Ottawa, you need to work on that. But so they had a football game that day, so it was a little bit busier than it usually is, but it was really good. We sold lots of stuff. We met lots of people. We even had this guy who was like a really frequent customer. He came out, was helping us throughout the day, trying to learn how to do events or learn how to just I don't know.
Shout out to you too, Zach.
Yeah.
What up, Zach? That's my boy.
He's a good guy.
It's dope, man. He's like this 15-year-old kid, extremely adorable and really passionate about the vintage community, about reselling and everything.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that what the internet has done for entrepreneurship, especially for the younger generation, to see that they're just so inclined, and it's almost comes naturally to them how they understand the idea of, hey, let me get something for $10 and let me try to get $15 back. You know what I mean?
It doesn't even cross their mind as something that they should even think about whether they should do it or not. They're just this makes sense, let me do it.
Yeah. And it's nice too because it's so humbling, because when we speak about the older generation and our parents, they'll be like, oh, well, selling old clothes is not really a business. What are you guys doing? But to the younger generation, they're like, what the heck, bro? You have your own business? And sometimes we forget it's that's our demographic.
Yeah.
That's who we are appealing to. Those are the people that generally like what we do and have an interest in it and everything,
Yeah.
So it was nice, man. And the thing I like about the 613 Flea is that one, it's extremely organized, and it seems like it's always constant, the people who are coming there. It's they're familiar faces and everything.
Yeah, we always see the same people kind of month after month, which is nice. And people be like, oh, you coming back next month? Be like, yeah, we'll see you then.
Yeah. And it's good too because it seems that they're able to cultivate a community that the same clients keep coming back, and also a lot of the same sellers keep coming back as well too, right?
For the most part, it's always generally the same group, maybe mix in 5 or so different ones, but for the most part, it's always the same because, like we said, it's a good event, it's affordable, it's easy to set up, it's not a super, super long day. Sometimes people have events where they'll be starts at 10 and finishes at 7 p.m. It's realistically, no one's coming between 10 and 12, and no one's coming between 5 and 7. So,
yeah, 100%.
So, but this 613 Flea, it's a really good time frame. It's a good day. It's on a Saturday, not a Sunday. It's good. It's just overall good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful event. One thing I think that why we got into the 613 Flea was because we were trying to have multiple markets to sell in. Not only be stuck in Toronto or only have limited places to sell. And we also have that same concept that we do online as well too, right? So we'll have Grailed that we sell, Let Go that we sell in. Facebook Markets has done a really phenomenal job for us. Unfortunately though, it was so good that they actually ended up kicking me off of Facebook Markets. So I've actually literally been banned from Facebook Markets.
But not even an explanation as to why.
It's crazy and it's unfortunate and it sucks because Facebook Markets is something that was a utility that we were using constant just because it was free, number one. And two, you were able to interact with a lot of people that liked our products. But I think what ended up happening was that I personally was posting so much there, and maybe their algorithms saw it as being spam. So over the time they warned me once, warned me twice. And finally they're like, nah, get this guy out of here, get this guy out of here. So it kind of sucks because like, it wasn't our only place that we sold, but at one point or another, it was where we sold a substantial amount of stuff. And I think it's kind of important that this does happen to us because it lets us know that like we always need multiple sources to be selling things. Because what would have happened if Facebook was our only place that we were actually selling?
Yeah, and the same thing happened not too long ago with, continues to happen off and on with eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll set limits on us and say, oh, like, you've exceeded the amount that you can sell for a particular period of time. You can't post. Like, imagine if we were just focused on eBay and Facebook. Like, we'd cut our sales down to, like, 0, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I kind of like the whole idea that we constantly force ourselves to find new apps and to find different shows and to find different stores to work with.
Great job on finding Heat, by the way. That one's actually been pretty good so far.
Yeah, so far we haven't sold anything on it yet, but the interactions,
There's lots of engagement.
and that's always a good sign, right? If people
Yeah.
are able to like see your stuff or at least interact with you, that's when you know, okay, like at least we're getting the views. And it kind of goes back to what Gary Vee was saying, attention, you know? As long as you can find a way to get the most eyes on you, I think that's really important. But yeah, back to the whole Facebook thing, because it would have really sucked if like that was the only place that we were selling. Our whole business essentially would have crumbled, you know? So I think it's always important that, one, we constantly go back to old apps that didn't work, because maybe they've been able to increase their active users so that more people will be able to purchase from us. Or maybe we'll finally realize, hey, there are some apps we kind of have to get rid of because like they're not working for us as well as before and everything, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of sucks though with the whole Facebook thing because it was actually helping us not only with selling but also with like distributing a lot of our content that we were creating, you know?
Yeah, but the good thing about there is some light at the end of the tunnel because I'm not banned.
Yeah. That's the good aspect, right? We still
Yeah.
have you to like
And like
run
our
that.
current on code page is not banned.
Yeah. It's just like John L, who's personally banned and everything.
Yeah.
It sucks because like again like the productivity is essentially cut in half, but it's okay, babe. You got this.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta hold it down. I don't know. Maybe I could like message them or something and be like, hey guys, like I'll change. Forgive me, please.
And we're not spam. We just post a lot, or maybe there's something that we can.
Maybe that does qualify as spam. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but you're in groups that other people are posting too, so it's like. It's not like you're just posting on random people's timelines, like, hey, buy Off-White. You're posting in, like, groups and stuff.
Yeah, I understand it, but, like, the unfortunate thing about, like, computer and companies nowadays, they only look at... The algorithms are actually looking at it. It's not like actual people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like each individual person is looking at
Yeah, that's
all
true. They're
1
not like,
billion
well, John L's a good guy.
people. And I am, guys. I am a good guy, man. Like, come on. Like,
He means well. He's not running a
Like,
scam.
you know,
Let's allow him.
like, you know, he's just trying to run a local business, but, like,
Yeah.
I definitely understand. But, again, it goes back to what we were talking about, right? Maybe this is the time that we actually start doing Facebook ads, right? We started the Instagram ads, which have been phenomenal so far.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. What do you think, like, about us, like, changing our whole marketing plan from the influencers to the Instagram ads to putting out more content and everything so far?
Honestly, it's been a really big change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even I remember our Instagram, for example, like, we were stuck at, like, what was it? I think, like, 2,800 followers for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then just since you've been doing the, like, Instagram influencers, like, giving out clothing to people, telling them to post pictures of it on their story or on their actual page and, like, tag us in it, it's like we literally get, I'd say, 25 to sometimes 50 followers every single week.
No, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And I think that's what's really important too, is because I always had the idea that like, oh, an influencer had to be someone with like 1 million followers, 2 million followers. That's the only way people will engage or trust their word. But it's like we're dealing with people with like 10 to like 50,000 followers, you know, and they're still able to penetrate their community so well.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see because like sometimes you forget like you need different tactics and different like methods to grow the actual company, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like the important thing is not necessarily how many followers someone has, but like what the demographics of their followers are.
Yes,
so a lot of
yes.
the times the people that we're hitting up to do like collaborations with, their followers are our demographic as well.
Yeah,
It's not like their followers are like moms and like grandpas, you know what I mean, that are going to turn their nose up at vintage clothing. Like their followers are actually people who are also interested in vintage clothing as well. So like I think that goes a long way. And a lot of the times too, like because they have a smaller amount of followers and their followers are more like organically based, they have actual interaction and engagement with these people. It's not like someone who has like 100,000 followers, but they only know like 1,000 of them or less. You know, but they only communicate with like 1,000 of them or less, or only 1,000 of them or less watch their stories and stuff like that. So it goes a long way.
No, definitely, and it's really cool too. Because even when I was talking to you about it, right, just to see how like they interact within their own community, it's really like they want to help each other, you know? They'll repost each other's pictures like, hey, follow this person, follow that person. And the thing that we've also noticed as well when we go to the shows is that a lot of our clientele are actually female.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like now it kind of makes sense that a lot of the influencers we're working with are female as well too, right?
Yeah.
Because when you look at the retail market, when it comes to clothing, 70% of the market's women, right?
And even too, like a lot of the days, like fashion is very like unisex. Like I feel like back in like previous times, like
I think the current fashion market is
the current fashion market is very unisex, especially for like streetwear, especially for vintage, like. If you're like, you know what I mean, like a lot of it's very just like a woman can wear, like I'm wearing Adidas track pants, you could wear the same thing, obviously not the same size, but I'm wearing a crew neck, you could wear the same thing. If you're wearing a Harley Davidson shirt, I could wear the same thing. So I think like that's something that's really beneficial to us right now, and it's also really good because we actually focus on that when we're picking. Like so sometimes I know that at least like when I used to pick more predominantly, like I'd stay away from
Colette doesn't pick anymore, guys. She used to pick literally 90% of the clothing, okay? 90% of the clothing, all right? Now she like, she doesn't even like get to see the stuff anymore.
No, I don't.
How do you feel about that? Are you okay with that?
Right now, yeah. Because like there'd be
You're like, oh.
Yeah, there'd be times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the bottom of this bin right now, but I have to. Like there were times when I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it when we had like a mission. Like, if it was like, okay, we need 20 t-shirts today, I'd be like, okay, I gotta get this. But when it's just like, yeah, we have an event coming up in 2 months, like, pick whatever. Like, those were the days where I'd be like, oh, this is so hard. Or when I'd go to our, like, warehouse and there'd be, like, a huge pile of stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm just like, oh.
It's literally like a workout. Like, you're working a rotator cup, you know?
It is a workout. Honestly, when you're picking rules of the trade, make sure you have a full stomach. Don't go there hungry.
Yeah. Bring headphones and music.
Yeah,
100%.
Because you're going to want to leave. Make sure your phone's fully charged. Bring headphones. Bring music.
And like, don't feel bad to take like a 5-minute break every 45 minutes.
Like take a 5-minute break. Go sit down for a second. Maybe post a video or do something. I don't know.
Gather your thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Just gather your thoughts.
Like take your time.
It's draining.
Make sure you bend with your knees, not with your back. Because then your lower back's going to start to hurt.
No, most definitely. But back to the whole thing you were saying about the way we pick was like really strategic in terms of...
Yeah, so it's really strategic. So a lot of the times, like if I see something that's like something that women don't necessarily wear without reworking would be like jerseys, like really, really oversized stuff. So something that's like a triple XL, like your average woman's not gonna like buy a men's triple XL sweater, for example. So anything that's like very, 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 very big in size, or like a hockey jersey or like a basketball jersey, like those types of things, I generally try to like not get too many of them. We dabble in it here and there,
yeah, for sure.
just because it doesn't really blend well with like the female market. Because at the end of the day, like I'm a woman, so like I know what I would wear and buy. So I always try to pick in reference to that. Well, I used to, but you also know too.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. Well, with me, I'm sure you probably do the same thing too. Like, we try to look at different patterns that are going on. So if we see something that's really popular that's going on in like H&M or like other vintage companies as well too, right? We'll try to focus on items like that as well too.
How dare you say H&M?
No, because like at the end of the day, they're still at the forefront for like leading in fashion. You know what I mean? Of course, like we try to stay away from them. We don't shop there, but like you can't take away the fact that like a lot of people look at them at one of the higher people when it comes to like fashion trends and what's currently happening or whatever.
Yeah, for
you know
the
what I mean?
public, yeah.
Yeah, for the public perception or whatever, you know what I mean? So we'll try to like fit into that category as well. That's interesting too, right? Because essentially what we're trying to do is like get more things for women as well, have things for guys. So it can be like a happy medium and everything. So I think that's really, really cool. When it comes to picking, I think sometimes like we are kind of limited when it does come to picking, just because it's like, it's by chance. let's say
Yeah.
we're specifically looking for champion sweaters or
Yeah.
rock tees or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
If we're fortunate, we may find those things.
Yeah.
You know?
And like that's something that can be difficult sometimes. Like I do have a couple of people from my work and they're like, "Oh, find me this, find me that." And I'm like, "Yeah, 100% I will," but it's like it just depends on what I find.
And sorry, speaking of that, when people say find me this, find me that, guys, you guys have to understand, like, we can go through 1,000 pieces of clothing, and if we're lucky, we may find 10 good pieces that we can sell. A lot of the time, people don't understand it, that, like, picking is literally that. You have to go through it and sort all the clothing. I think some people have a misconception that, like, oh, these guys own a vintage company, so they just walk into a store and they find all the clothing just like that. It's like, just yesterday, I was there for 3 hours and I finding like 9 things.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's not all, we're not always that fortunate to just come out on top and everything, you know? But that's why I think it's good that we've been able to like actually keep some relationships with people that we've met. Perfect example, like I was able to meet a guy, I ended up selling my hockey jersey, and he was also a fellow picker. And he has a lot of products that we like, but he doesn't necessarily sells. So I'm going to end up meeting up with him and buy out all his champion crew necks and all his champion pants as well too, right? So like I think it's also good, like, yes, you can go thrifting at like the Value Village and the Goodwill. Yes, you can go picking at the different warehouses and stuff like that. But it's also good to have like those relationships with people who have large collections of clothing that will give you the opportunity to buy them out, right?
Yeah, especially if you're like in situations where you're in a little bit of a short supply. Because I hate that feeling when we're coming out to an event. It's like the event's like a week or 2 weeks away and we're like, crap, we're kind of low on stuff. And then like you have to go picking and you're like, you're not being as selective as like you would usually be because you're like,
you're desperate almost.
Yeah, like you're desperate. Like you're like, I just need stuff. So it's like, oh, this little Reebok windbreaker has like a stain or whatever. Let's hope that it comes out or like, you know, like you're being a little bit less like picky about what you pick. So picky about what you pick. But like, you know what I mean? So nobody likes to be in that situation. So sometimes having like those relationships with people that have that stockpile so you can use that as a buffer if ever needed.
Is always really important, you know. I guess the negative aspect of it would be like, okay, the price points are gonna be a bit higher.
Yeah,
so the profit margins aren't as good.
Yeah, but you also have to factor in the fact that you're saving yourself so much time.
So much time.
Exactly.
Like literally, I'm gonna go there. I'm like, yeah, can you show me this stuff? Like, yeah, give me those 20.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm there for like 15 minutes.
Whereas,
and then
like,
up and at 'em.
Finding 20 like champion sweaters would have been like who knows, like 60 hours of picking alone, if not more.
It's crazy because last week I was able to find 6, and it was literally like in like 3 minutes. I was like,
you got lucky.
What?
Yeah.
It was like one of those. So like, you know what I mean? And of course, like some days the thrift gods, thank you, will like shine down on you and like help you find stuff. And some days Satan just wants to hate, you know? So you never know. You definitely, you don't ever know. And also, there's also another guy that may potentially give us the Bantees. The Bantees, especially Bantees nowadays, they're like so sought after. So for us to like be able to get our hands on that,
authentic vintage ones,
all from the 80s and 90s, all gonna be in really crazy tough, good condition. I'm actually really excited because he has 50 of them.
Me too.
And it's kind of funny though. He was like so humble. He was like, "Oh, I have 50, but you may not want any. I'm gonna take every single one."
And you're like downplaying it. You're like, yeah, like I'll see what I can, do with them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in your head, you're like,
I'm like going crazy in my head. I'm literally gonna buy every single piece. He has like no idea what's coming, you know what I mean? And I think it's good too because like there are a lot of people like that. Like the guy that I'm gonna see for the champion stuff, he is a part of the vintage community, but like he's actually a full-time teacher. So he's not really that interested in like going to events or like posting on multiple apps or whatever, you know.
Or like picking every day, all day.
Exactly. So if he can like
probably like his summer thing.
Exactly, like, you know. So if he can have someone like me come by now and just like buy out his wardrobe, of course, why wouldn't he take that opportunity? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just easier for him, and like doesn't have to pay for shipping. I'm coming to you, like
it's pretty. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone. Definitely a win-win for everyone. I think one thing that's like next for us is always like transitioning into the business. What can Clarendon Co. be? What's the next chapter that we want to get into and everything? And I think we've had a pretty thorough discussion about that because we've always said that yes, we do sell vintage clothing, but we don't want to be isolated in being a vintage clothing company. You know what I mean? Or being a used company or just being a hypebeast company. You know, any type of textile that there is, we want to be a part of it. We want to find a way to bring that to our clients in the best, most affordable, with the highest quality, right? And so I think it's important that we try to figure out a way that how we can constantly grow the company, you know? So for us, it's just that like, well, we do high end items that are brand new. Why couldn't we do that on a lower scale as well too, right?
Yeah. Why can't we do that for just like, not like bad quality clothing, but just like still good quality clothing at a cheaper price that people are it's still sought after by people. So I think that's the next thing that we're really focusing on. I think overall it will be not like a transition, it'll be like an easy addition to like the business model that we have now. Because essentially what we'll do is we'll just, instead of putting, vintage clothing and like high-end streetwear into the machine that we have right now, we'll put that, middle end, brand new clothing into that machine and see how it works. And I don't see why it wouldn't work, because it works we're just changing the product.
Yeah. And I think that's what's really important about us, is that like we're really focused on ensuring that we have a machine that runs well. So as long as all the gears are in place, all the pulleys are working, we have to now ensure that that system is correct for the demographic that we're going in, you know what I mean? And I think for the most part, with us trying to make this transition, it is.
Yeah.
It is, you know what I mean? Because like we know how to source the product, we know how to do events, we know how to ship, but now it's just like, okay, maybe let's change that up a bit. Instead of doing Off-White or vintage Harley Davidson, let's do it at a medium level price point, right?
Yeah.
So we can like reach more people.
Yeah.
And everything too,
like
right?
Instead of selling, brand new like Adidas or Nike under Clarendon Co., which we don't necessarily do right now, we would sell it under a different name.
Exactly.
Still part of our business, but just a different name with, new items that are not necessarily vintage, obviously, and not necessarily high-end streetwear, but just new.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like that middle point is sometimes left out, because a lot of people like they like the vintage because like one, it's unique, and two, it's really inexpensive, right? And then a lot of people like the high-end stuff because like one, it's unique, and two, it's really expensive, it's hard to get, right? And I think for us going into that middle point, we're going to that average consumer that's like, yeah, I like stuff, I don't like stuff old, I don't like stuff that's overly expensive, let's meet in the middle. And I think that's important, right? You don't ever want to forget about people.
And I feel like it's a huge demographic.
It's a huge demographic. It's a huge demographic, because like both markets that we deal with right now, they're both niches. Vintage community is really tiny when you look at the full scale of like the retail clothing community, right? And same thing with hypebeast clothing, high-end fashion, right?
Yeah. Like they both have their benefits and drawbacks, but I think us just like expanding our reach a little bit, there's no potential for that to be a negative.
No.
We would just have to find a way to like time manage and figure out how we're gonna like allocate our time accordingly. But I don't see that it would be a detriment to what we're doing right now.
No, I think if anything with the time, maybe for like the first 2 months, we're gonna have like growing pains, because yes, it is like a new venture we're getting into, and of course we probably have to use things like Amazon, things like eBay as well too, right? But we always figure it out, and sometimes I forget about that. It's like with you and I, like we don't necessarily worry about how we're gonna get it done. We just make sure we get it done. We'll end up figuring it out, because our whole process is what, like trial and error. Like we fail really quickly, so then we can run to the successes.
Yeah, and the more you try something, the closer you are to getting it accomplished. So the more you just sit around thinking about something, you're not going to get anything done.
No, 100%. And speaking of getting things done, I think it's almost time to bring this podcast to a close. So before we head out, is there any last words that you'd want to add or shout out or say? You tell me. I don't know.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, you think you're good, eh?
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is, guys, thank you so much for your added support. I'm the nice one, so Carl didn't want to say this, so I'll say it. Thank you so much for your added support from people who just watch us, from people who purchase items, from people who just want to say thank you guys so much. I think a lot of the time it's hard to see how well you're doing while you're in it, which we are, but to see people like shoot us messages saying like, hey, your information is helping us, saying thank you for the items, man, it actually means a lot. Because for me, as much as I do enjoy running a business, I also enjoy like seeing people actually happy about the items that they get, or the information that they're able to get from us as well too, right? Because this is something that we want to do for a long period of time. So it's like the way we started is generally gonna be the way we finish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like this isn't always fun, but I would rather it be rewarding than to be fun.
Yeah, it's not always fun, but it's always worth it.
It's always worth it. All right, guys. So on that note, peace. And until next time, thanks for watching.